Hey guys, I wanted to chime in just a little bit on the whole Pro Tools as the industry standard thing. And I will say that Pro Tools was the industry standard for a long time. Now, I started into the music industry professionally somewhere around, I want to say 2001-ish, like fully into the business by 2005. But even by then, it was clear that other products were starting to get better. I mean, Cubase for the longest was actually better than Pro Tools, even from before it became the industry standard. There was a program by Motu, Mark of the Unicorn, I can't remember the name, Digital Performer, that's what it was. Digital Performer was really, really good. It just wasn't great at MIDI, but it was really, really good. And it directly competed with Pro Tools. But the only reason why Pro Tools was so dominant was because Avid had contracts with a lot of these facilities, the studios, Avid Adrenaline Systems. If you've never heard of what that is, look that up. That was a film studio staple, and a lot of movies were cut with that. And the recording studios had to match up, so they had the HD systems, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these things were under contracts. When you're contractually obligated to have something and use something, you're going to use it, especially when you get a deep discount for so much tech. And you have to remember, for a while, Avid had the best tech in the industry for, I guess you could say, that time. But then as technology got better, other things came up. eMagic was bought by Apple, Logic became just Logic Pro, and that became a much better software than Pro Tools in so many different ways. Hence the reason I switched out of Pro Tools to Logic. And if you fast forward to today, Studio One is a really good program, like really, really, really good. There's a lot of free DAWs that are even just as good as Pro Tools today. And the hardware has fallen behind. Let's just be honest. The hardware has fallen behind. It's not bad. It's really good. It's just there's so many things that are just better for a lot less money. And I think that's where the whole Pro Tools is no longer the industry standard thing comes from. Now, is Pro Tools still the industry standard? Kind of. Mainly because, again, like I said earlier, you had contracts that locked up a lot of companies into having to deal with it. And because so much of Hollywood has been focused on using production around these tools, it's just a staple. It's kind of like if you want to do a blockbuster film, for the longest everybody said, I have to have a red camera. I have to have a red camera. But those Sony FX cameras are like so much less and almost as good, if not better. So it's the same concept. So today, it is really not the industry standard anymore. It's only considered the industry standard because so many facilities have used it for so long. They have tried and true systems that have just functioned without any complications or capability issues. I mean, I will admit that when I used Pro Tools, when I had it back in the day, I had a ton of problems in the home studio. But when I was in the recording facility, I didn't have a single problem, like not even one. And every studio I've gone to, even up until today, still no issues. Like Pro Tools just works in the recording studios. You're spending the money. If you're gonna spend the money, it's gotta fucking work. and that's the reason why it's been dominant for so long. Is it better than anything else out right now? No. Does it have better MIDI capability, considering that's what we all basically cut our bread and butter on today? No. Is it the best audio conversion on the planet? No, it's not. None of these things are true anymore. Everything else has gotten so good that it's got direct competition. But I have to agree with Bolo that it's just not the industry standard anymore, and it is still considered a very capable DAW. And I know that's a conflicting thought process on the situation, but it's just a reality. I mean, as you can see, I'm a Logic guy. Why? It works. And I don't need to spend $10,000, $20,000 to get what I'm trying to get done. It just works. And the stuff that I submit to labels and film studios, no complications because they accept it. It works. And And a lot of places started using parallel systems. They would have Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, almost every DAW, because they know, even though they have these deals with Avid or DigiDesign back in the day, now Avid, they have to have everything now, because there's so many competitors that are just really, really good. So I hope that helps. I know it's like kind of like 50-50 on what I'm trying to say, but the truth of the matter is Pro Tools is not the standard anymore. It's just one of the most capable DAWs on the planet, but there's a ton out there that are better than it. I mean, Bitwig is it's getting close.